India has rubbished media reports of a track-2 dialogue opening up between New Delhi and Islamabad. These headlines had hit the media as high-profile dignitaries from India, including Ram Madhav, former Army Chief General Naravane, and veteran diplomat Ruchi Ghanshyam, attended a kind of dialogue forum in Sri Lanka, which was also attended by Pakistani interlocutors. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said that these were private events organized by private parties and had nothing to do with the government. This development and this statement from Vikram Misri came as a senior minister from Pakistan spoke in inflammatory language on the Indus Waters Treaty and even referenced a phrase of cutting off the hands that may stop water to come into Pakistan. Remember that since Operation Sindoor, India has said that blood and water cannot flow together, and the Indus Waters Treaty has been at the center of a standoff between India and Pakistan. To make sense of all that is happening, we're joined by military veteran and author General Raj Shukla. General Shukla, it is no surprise, of course, that the government has formally distanced itself from, the forum that took place in Colombo. We also had Ram Madhav himself rubbishing the media reports that suggested that this was some sort of track-2 and pointed to a thawing between Delhi and Islamabad. How do you see the developments of the last few days?
So, Barkha, let's begin with this unseemly rhetoric of Musadik Malik, who spoke about, cutting the hands off, which deny water. But the moot point for every right-thinking Indian and Pakistani is what? It is not water, it is terror. And I'm saying right-thinking Pakistani and Indian. If terror was not the problem, water would not be an issue. And let me also say that Pakistan is in a water crisis, which means, the IWT has only been suspended, but if we enforce it with great rigor, Pakistan will be in serious trouble. I was reading somewhere that there is a massive water crisis in Sindh and Baluchistan. Irrigation hubs like the Sakar barrage are in deep trouble. Canal water deficits range from 60 to 80% deficits. Sindh is accusing Punjab of, upstream water withdrawals. So water is a problem, and therefore the minister's rhetoric, this is when we have only suspended the treaty and not even enforced it. So Pakistan just has to realize, in my view, they do not have too many options. Since Sindoor, may I also suggest to your viewers that we have greatly upgraded our capacities in terms of microelectronics, standoff targeting. I don't want to get into all that. So I think India is very well poised, and even these track-2, the Foreign Secretary has denied it, Mr. Ram Madhav has denied it. But let me just offer a proposition. Who is more desperate for talks? Is it India or is it Pakistan? I think it is Pakistan. So possibly track-2 is a way of conveying to India that they wish to talk. And we are saying that, of course, we can talk, but the only way we will seriously talk is when you issue terror. That sounds extremely logical to me. And now if you see that Pakistan's nuclear bluff has been called, they don't seem to have too many options. So if they really want water to flow, which will be a signal for, shall we say, a greater repair in Indo-Pak relations, terror has to be issued. And just see the global landscape. Terror is also the issue between Iran and the United States.
I will come to the global landscape in just a moment, but just to keep with these reports of a so-called track-2 that has been denied by both the participants as well as the government. The fact is that it attracted a lot of attention because of the profile of Pakistani representatives who were at this forum, whether it was Sherry Rahman, who has been a minister in the government, was close to Benazir Bhutto and Asif Ali Zardari. There was a former top general, there was a serving diplomat, and so it attracted a lot of attention. It's been rubbished, but it was also located in the context of Dattatreya Hosabale, very senior RSS leader, in an interview not so long ago, saying that the job of the government was to protect the people of India and keep our security priorities, but that a window had to be or should be kept open for engagement. How did you read Mr. Hosabaleh's comments and then these developments?
So, you see, Barkha, any sensible person will tell you that governments need to talk, nations need to talk. But you have also, when you talk, there has to be a reasonableness on the other end. How can you talk with people who are doing things like Pahalgam? That's the point. So I'm saying talks is not the issue. Terror is the issue. And any right-thinking Pakistani and Indian ought to know that. As far as, governments always have channels. There is track 1.5, where there is, participation with government knowledge. There is track 2, which is with governmental nudge and wink. But in the current milieu, when the foreign secretary denies us, Mr. Ram Madhav denies us, we have no option but to believe them. It could also be that at a common seminar, there were some Pakistanis present. They met them.
No. I 100% believe them. There's no reason to disbelieve the participants. If the participants are saying that we were, because you can go to a seminar where there are also Pakistanis present. That doesn't make it a track 2 dialogue.
Absolutely. And say, assuming, just for a moment, hypothetically, let's say there were some people speaking. Yes. What am I going to speak about? I'm going to say that, please issue terror. Issue it officially and we can do all the talking. The point is that Pakistan has been riding this tiger where terror was central to their statecraft. Now, with the changing international situation, it is not paying. They also carried out terror under the nuclear bluff that has been called out by this government. That's exactly what happened in Op Sindoor. And I'm reiterating, since Op Sindoor, our military capacities have only grown, which means political options have grown. Pakistan, any sensible person in Pakistan must note this. Having said that, let me also say, it is time to look at the wider picture where it cannot be denied that courtesy Asim Munir, for whatever reason, Pakistan's diplomatic profile has improved. So Pakistan has made inroads into West Asia. There is, all those meetings between Pakistan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. Pakistan is making inroads to our east. We just had Tariq Rahman going to China, the Mangla port. Turkey, Barkha, on your show, have been making this point many times. Turkey is the principal supplier in naval platforms and autonomous platforms. So I'm not denying that, there are challenges. Look at the Pak-China nexus. It is only growing. They have one unified combat theater. That should tell us that we cannot afford to kick down the can of theaterization. The Pakistan-Chinese unified combat theater poses severe challenges. So there are challenges, that India has to grapple with. Strategic autonomy. The problem with our strategic autonomy is that our defense platforms are sourced from so many different countries that integrating them operationally becomes a challenge. So I'm not saying that India is not challenged. I've been arguing on your shows that we have to do a lot in that sense. Western horizons, how Pakistan is penetrating West Asia. We have to find options. We are, the UAE, Israel, but we need to find more partners, perhaps Japan, South Korea. But having said that, this whole business of cutting our hands off and all, what are they talking? He's dealing with a country like India. So I'm making this point that we need to look at the areas around us, need to look at the ways Pakistan has strengthened itself. May I make a point on military diplomacy? This business of General Hasnain leading a delegation to
Iran
funeral, I tweeted yesterday, I think this is a very good step. I think it's a historic first when you are making use of, distinguished soldiers, people with a good track record to also play the diplomacy game. We have even more talent. We should widen it. And that talent will kind of counter the challenge that Asim Munir is posing in his diplomatic role. So I'm saying there are a lot of sensible things that we need to do. And if I may just make this point, if you look very carefully, General Hasnain representing India at that funeral points to some very wise and solemn statecraft. This is something that I would endorse. And, these things will help in growing India's stature further.
Let's start with what's happening with this nexus. Pakistan, China have always had a nexus. Now, Pakistan, for a while now, has been trying to, since Muhammad Yunus's interim government has been trying to co-opt Bangladesh in this nexus. Turkey, you have mentioned. And on the other side, it would be very interesting to see how the Americans respond once their use for Pakistan vis-a-vis Iran is done with. Or do you believe that that would take longer? Now, what sort of challenges does this pose for India, where you have the China, Pakistan, Bangladesh axis, as it were, and then you also have Trump, who, while he praises Prime Minister Modi fulsomely, is also, full of praise for parsimony?
So you see, my own take on Indo-US relations is this, that till the MAGA camp is in power, it's very difficult to do any reasonable stuff with them. They just have to be seen out. I mean, look at the sheer insensitivity of Marco Rubio when he even refused to condole the deaths of those sailors. This is crass diplomacy. So it is extremely difficult to do business with Trump, and much of the world is realizing it. I mean, look at what what the consequences in Epic Fury. The point that America must really look at is that the squeeze that they applied, what is the quality of the juice that they have got? You have defeated Iran militarily, but politically Iran is strengthened. You have lost the trust of your allies. You don't have allies in your own Congress. So in these kind of circumstances, extremely difficult to do business with the United States. And I think our policy has been extremely wise. Listen to him, but no meaningful gestures are happening. Look at what they've done in the GE engine deal. So they are far too transactional to do business with. This should set us thinking about our strategic autonomy. In political terms, I'm all for strategic autonomy. But what happens if you do not have, shall we say, close partners? In the strategic military realm, there are consequences. Like, Pakistan's, the Pak-China embrace has led to a virtual unified combat theater. In our case, as I said, platforms from Israel, France, United States, it creates an operational dissonance. So we have to see within the overarching frame of political strategic autonomy, how we can build better defense strategic military partnerships. That is the whole challenge of strategic autonomy. So, and you see, Pakistan also is not just sitting on its haunches. It's doing some pretty penetrative diplomacy. If you follow this West Asian space, the foreign ministers met in Egypt, outreach to Saudi Arabia, and this kind of positioning as a country with some military weight, these defense agreements with Saudi Arabia, Turkey, I mean, not defense agreements, but some kind of partnerships with Egypt, and may I say with the nudge and wink of China. So all I'm saying is that there is trouble brewing to our west. To our east, I've made this point many times on your show, it's a national security reality. Let me make an added point, Barkha. We're all talking about dronery in Ukraine. In this Myanmar belt, there is very powerful drone capacities being built. Asim Munir has also spoken about, terror from the east. So I'm sure we are doing that, but we need to do far more. I've been speaking of the need to prop up the DIA in our case. We have a 3-star DIA. His whole business should be influence in our periphery. So this is the whole challenge. We have to look more carefully at our region.
There is a section of the geopolitical strategic affairs community in India that argues that while India and Pakistan, there's no context to resume structured dialogue, practical measures can be taken that also help India. For example, one of the things that comes up, certain senior bureaucrats have brought this up, is about the closed airspace for international flights, right? So Indian carriers are suffering because their flights to Europe or America are longer, and if Western carriers are benefiting because they're able to take the short route through Pakistan. I am raising this not at all, I should underline that 3 times, to advocate for any context to resume dialogue. But is there a context for both countries to look at certain very practical, low impact measures? Is there space for that or no space for that, even in the current scenario?
So let me make the counter argument. I mean, how practical were we when Mr. Modi outreached to Nawaz Sharif, when he took over as the prime minister? when he flew down to Pakistan. I think it was Lahore.
Yeah.
I mean, we took steps. We said, you come and investigate Pathankot. And all the while, they were just growing their terror capacities.
100%. 100%. So I'm not advocating for that at all.
Point is, say we start talking and we restore air links. I mean, we save a few pennies here and there'll be another Pahalgam. So that is the whole point. It is not really for us. It is for, there have to be some wise men and women in Pakistan. They have to understand that terror cannot be a tool in statecraft. It simply cannot.
How do you see what's happening between Pakistan and Afghanistan? We have seen 2-3 things that we should talk about. Also, what's happening in POGK. We have seen in the last fortnight massive demonstrations in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. We have also seen Pakistan displaying great aggression in Afghanistan, even children being targeted in double-tap strikes. I want you to talk a little bit about that.
So Pakistan is in a solid mess. I mean, a country which has to lock up its most popular politician. What does one say about that country? Its politics is in a mess. It's in a societal upheaval. I mean, many times on your show, we've spoken about what's happening in Balochistan, what's happening in KPK, and now Pak-occupied Kashmir. I mean, the kind of stuff that was, happening there. I mean, I made this point many times on your show. What Pakistan politics lacks at this point is danishmandi, wisdom. There is simply no wisdom. Tell me which country in the world will lock up its most popular politician.
Absolutely.
Treat him in the manner that they have treated him. I mean, his eyesight is in danger.
Yeah.
It cannot be a worse form of statecraft. So I have been making this point for very long that Pakistan, by and large, is a pest. It is in trouble of its own. It is disintegrating. All its provinces seem to be falling apart. There is no politics happening there. And I mean politics in a good way. So in that sense, politics, Pakistan just doesn't bother me. I mean, they've had a spot of good luck that Trump has suddenly taken a liking to the field marshal. So that's the silver lining in their affairs.
Finally, because you've been talking about theaterization, dronery, civil-military fusion, it's a subject of your book as well. Given these security challenges in the form of what's happening to the East and the West both, we have an outgoing army chief, a new army chief coming in. Where do you think the paradigm shift or the prioritization should be and has to be?
So, Barkha, I've written a piece in the Swaraj when the CDS took over.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, it was a pretty well-researched piece where I made many points. And principally, there are 2 challenges. One is that we have been slow on reforms. I think this needs to be said. The CDS was a boon given to the military by the political class. I think 2 CDSs down the line, I would observe that the performance of the institution, I'm not talking of the personalities, the institutions has been underwhelming. And now, this new team of the Chief CDS, Raja Subramani, the Army Chief, Dheeraj Seth, is also, let me say, the Naval Chief, Swaminathan, the NSCS, we have a very bright secretary there, Rajiv Ghai. This team now needs to look at these.
Who is the DGMO in Op Sindoor?
Absolutely. So there is once again great hope. I know the great difficulties in carrying out these transformations, but we simply can, or the accumulated backlog of the cans that you have kicked down the road. Theaterization is one very good example. It should have happened in the 1990s. This is 2026. And the great changes in the character of war which is happening in Ukraine. Let me raise one important question with you. Today we are in year 5 of the Ukraine war. Have we adapted to all the changes that have taken place in Ukraine? Certainly not. So there is the accumulated backlog and there is the nature of the changes in the character of war. So there are a whole lot of things from theaterization. Barkha, we've been talking of artificial intelligence, algorithmic warfare. These are not things of the future. They are happening in Ukraine, in Iran. Look at the great challenges. The US Navy is a great example. I mean, it's decimated the Iranian Navy, 160 ships. but it has failed to open the strait because it is not small enough, not agile enough, not autonomous enough. The great US military.
Yeah.
These are the consequences of not changing. So therefore, this institution of the CDS, General Ghai, the army chief, they have a great opportunities, also challenges before them. We simply cannot kick these reform initiatives down the line. And I've outlined those 8-10 steps which need to be taken. If sometime you have the time and the inclination, we can discuss them.
Absolutely. Look forward to the next podcast, but we leave it here for now. General Shukla, thank you always for your wisdom, your insights, and your plain speak. Take care. See you soon, sir.
Thank you, Barkha. All the best to you. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.